So we got these from a family friend who grew up with these. They are treasured tales of childhood, all-time favorites. Can you guess who these is? I bet you it's Puss in Boots. And this little bear. That might be the old woman with the gingerbread man. So it's kind of a fun little style. The book has been through a little bit. Treasured Tales of Childhood, all-time favorites, put together by Barbara Simmons and Ruth Rooney, published by the Southwestern Company, Nashville, Tennessee. This book is from 1974, and it has been a little bit loved. Can you guess who this is? Little Red Riding Hood. All-time favorites. They have all been previously copyrighted. So the stories in here: Little Red Riding Hood, Sleeping Beauty, The Three Bears, Cinderella, Puss in Boots, The Night Before Christmas, and The Gingerbread Man. We're just going to read Little Red Riding Hood today. So, Little Red Riding Hood, illustrated by Anne Sellers Leaf. Rand McNally and Company, Chicago, established 1856. So, this is copyright them. Look at the beautiful Red Riding Hood. I love her little stripy socks. Once upon a time, there was a little village girl who was as sweet as sugar and as good as bread. I've heard of that phrase before. I'm not really sure what it means. Her mother loved her very much, and her grandmother was even fonder of her. Ooh, that must be Grandma. This kind grandmother had made her a pretty red cloak with a hood, in which the child looked so bright and gay that everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. Gay used to primarily mean joyful, so she looked bright and happy and cheery. And look, she's doing her chores. She's sweeping. That's an industrious little girl. Working hard. Oh my gosh, I love the wolf. Look at him. He's got a little cape with patches. He's so adorable. One day, her mother made some cakes and said to her, "Go, my child, and see how your grandmother is. I hear she has been ill. Take her one of these cakes and this little pot of butter." So Little Red Riding Hood set out at once to see her grandmother, who lived in another village. As she walked through the woods, she met a big wolf. He would have gobbled her up then and there, but some woodcutters were nearby, and he did not dare. But he did ask her where she was going. The little girl did not know it was dangerous to talk to a wolf, and so she said, "I am going to my grandmother to take her this cake and a little pot of butter." "Oh, does she live far off?" asked the wolf. "Oh, yes," answered Little Red Riding Hood. "She lives beyond the mill, you see, way down there at the first house in the village." "All right." "Oh, yes," answered Little Red Riding Hood. "She lives beyond..."
Going on.
Yes. Do you want to be part of the story? Okay. Why don't you sit down next to the story? We're reading Little Red Riding Hood, and it's the big bad wolf. Doesn't he look fun? I love his little cape. tell them that we don't have to worry about our grandmother being in another village because she lives with us now.
Grandma moved into our house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she can't live by herself.
Well, that's because we're here for her. All right, said the wolf. I'll go and visit her too. I will take this way and you take that way, and we'll see who gets there first. Oh, so see, he's saying he's going to go visit her grandmother. Doesn't that sound nice?
No.
It's not nice.
It sounds trickful, so that...
You don't think he's an upstanding citizen? He's got a hat. Doesn't he have a nice hat? That doesn't make him trustworthy?
Well, he's a wolf. He eats people.
He eats people? Goodness grief. He's
Never
very
trust
big
a wolf.
Well, especially not this one. This one's a little bit suspicious. He's a bit sus, isn't he?
Yes.
He is a bit sus. All right.
I'm going in on Monster Mom and Kitty Daddy hey bed.
Mm-hmm. Soon, the wolf arrived at the grandmother's cottage and knocked at the door. Tap, tap. Who is there? It is your own Little Red Riding Hood, said the wolf, making his voice sound as much like Little Red Riding Hood's as he could. The good old woman, who wasn't feeling well and so was in bed, called out, "Pull the string, my dear, and the latch will fly up." Ooh, I love her bedspread, though. It looks kind of like lemons or yellow roses. Oh, look at that face. You like that face? That's a Trixie face right there. Tricky, tricky, tricky.
Yeah, he ate her.
Okay, well, maybe. Let's see here. Yeah, no, he definitely ate her. The wolf pulled the string and the door opened. He sprang upon the poor old grandmother and swallowed her all in one gulp. Gulp. For it was more than 3 days since he had had a bite. He did not feel very well after that. Oh, his tummy must hurt. But he shut the door, put on the grandmother's cap, and stretched himself out in the old woman's bed to wait for Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh, he should not have ate the grandma.
That's right. He definitely should not be eating grandma.
I think the grandma's moving his stomach.
Maybe? It does kind of look pretty lumpy under that bed. But no, see, it's less lumpy. I think that this must be... I'm not sure what that is. Is that his knees or something? Okay, so we think these are his knees. Okay. So, by and by, Little Red Riding Hood came knocking at the cottage door. Tap, tap. Who's there? At first, Little Red Riding Hood was frightened at the hoarse voice of the wolf, but she had made up her mind that her grandmother must have a cold.
Do you really?
It is I. It is your own Little Red Riding Hood, she answered. I have brought you a cake and a little pot of butter which Mother has made and sent you. Yeah, people used to make their own butter regularly. Then the wolf called out, softening his voice as well as he could. Pull the string, my dear, and the latch will fly up. Little Red Riding Hood pulled the string, and the door opened. When the wolf saw her come in, he hid himself under the bedclothes and said, "Put the cake and the little pot of butter on the shelf and come here." And so Little Red Riding Hood put the cake and the butter on the shelf and went over to the wolf. She was very much surprised to see how strange her grandmother looked in her night clothes and said, what do you think she said?
"Grandma, you look different."
"Grandmother, what great arms you have." "The better to hug you, my child." "Grandmother, what great ears you have." "The better to hear you, my child." "Grandmother, what great eyes you have." "The better to see you, my child." "Grandmother, what great teeth you have." "The better to eat you." With these words, the wicked wolf fell upon poor Little Red Riding Hood, and there the story ends. Oh, nobody knows just what happened. Some say that the woodsmen were so nearby cutting trees that they heard Little Red Riding Hood scream and came running just in time to save her. And they say, too, that when the woodsmen cut the wolf open, there they found the grandmother whole and sound, that she was just fine.
Oh, and sound?
Yeah, so sound means in good health, good quality. And so that was Little Red Riding Hood.
I'm actually a real kraken.
You're a real kraken, my baby.
And Monster Mom's actually a real monster.
Uh-huh.
And Daddy Cat, he's like a standing ginormous cat.
Uh-huh.
And
And your brother's a real Leviathan.
Leviathan?
Uh-huh.
What's those?
It's like a giant whale, sort of.
Well, my brother's like a ginormous whale.
Uh-huh.
But I'm bigger than him.
Uh-huh.
For some reason.
Because you're his brother. All right, let's say goodbye.
Goodbye.